What's going on, guys? Welcome back to week 15 of the greatest podcast on turf. So for this week's exclusive segment, we're going to be doing a head-to-head mock draft where we try to build the best team possible. But before we go ahead and get into that, got some, sad news, you could say. We're going to be taking a week off next week. This is going to end season 1
of the greatest podcast on turf.
Yep, next week, kind of a little busy. Got some schoolwork that needs to be done.
Finals coming up, all that.
And it's kind of a dry spell in the NFL right now, so we're going to be coming back the week of the draft, though. Coming back heavy. Probably going to give you guys a couple episodes.
I mean, this is kind of a weird time of the year where there's not much to talk about, and we don't want to just throw random content to you guys. We want to have fun doing it while bringing entertainment content that you guys find entertaining to you guys. But yeah, we're going to be coming back the week of the draft. That's 2 weeks from now. We got like 3, 4, 5 uploads coming that week. It's draft week. One of my favorite days of the year. I'm counting down the days, can't wait. But like Ryan said, did a head-to-head mock draft so you could build a better team with the rookies, kind of like we did before. Saw Mel Kiper do this on his show. I thought it would be fun. So let's get it. So we did the draft earlier. We did laces or spaces with the football to see who got the pick. We let Ryan choose. He chose spaces. We turned it around and it landed on spaces. So Ryan got the first pick. And before we start, just want to say, we're going to try and go as in-depth as possible with these picks and why we picked them, but we don't want the video to be too long. So if we're speeding through, don't get all upset. If you have a question about why we chose a guy or how we think about him, just leave it in the comments. We'll get back to you, but let's get it.
All right, so the first pick, he was really upset about this. I took Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you kind of have to. I personally think he's probably the best in the class. Justin Fields is below him, so I took him here. I don't really have much to say. He bought out in Clemson. Clemson has provided some pretty good quarterbacks recently, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Ryan. I think Ryan made the right choice here, but I don't like that I didn't get him. So when Ryan took Trevor, I wasn't taking a quarterback till the very end of the draft, as you'll see down the board. So my first pick, I decided to go with the versatile weapon in Kyle Pitts. He's the second best player in the class behind Trevor. I feel like he's the best offensive threat. He can play tight end, he can block good, he can line up out wide for you if he needs to. He can kind of do it all. So I feel like Kyle Pitts was the best pick here.
Yeah, I agree, and I definitely would have took him here if he was still available. But I'll jump to the next pick. I took Penei Sewell. A lot of people argue that him and Kyle Pitts are the two favorites to be generational talent. So I took him here to play left tackle for me. I think it's huge. 20 years old, just turned 20. He's a beast. Huge upside.
Yeah, I mean, he's got good size. He's versatile. Great pick here. Then for my second pick, I went ahead and helped beef up that offense somewhere. I got Jamar Chase, arguably the best receiver in the class. He bought out at his pro day. He had an amazing year. His 2 years ago at LSU with Joe Burrow. So I feel like this is kind of another no-brainer pick.
Yeah, and I'll jump to the next pick. Jalen Waddle. You can argue he's the best receiver in this class. I'm not making that argument. He is, so I'm happy with this pick, Jalen Waddle here. We all know Alabama produces receivers. We all know Jalen Waddle is a great receiver. Gives Trevor Lawrence his wide receiver 1. Hey, I'll take it.
If Ryan didn't take Jalen Waddle there, I was going Pitts, Chase, Waddle, back-to-back to solidify offense, but I went ahead and started my offensive line, most versatile offensive line you'll ever see. You'll realize later, I went Rashawn Slater. There's been some argument that he's the best tackle in the class, even over Penei Sewell, which I disagree with personally. I think Slater's a great prospect of his own. I just think Penei Sewell's a little bit better, but I went Slater here. I'm going to have him play in my left tackle spot, solidify that spot on the line to block for my quarterback, or you'll figure out later. I'm sure you guys probably can know who it is by now, but I went Slater here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good pick there. I don't really have much to say about it, so I'll jump to the next pick. First pick on defense so far, I believe, right?
Yeah. First
pick on defense. Micah Parsons, arguably the best linebacker in his class. Dude's a freak in nature in terms of his athleticism. Coming out of Penn State, play inside for me. I think it's huge.
Yeah, I wanted this pick here, but for my guy, I also went defense first. I went ahead and got the best corner in the class, Patrick Surtain. I think he's that clear-cut CB1 in the class. Enough said. Not much else to say.
Yeah, this kind of hurt me because, I want him in a Cowboys uniform coming up in a couple weeks. So I took the next best corner, J.C. Horn. Arguably, some people are arguing that J.C. Horn might even be better than Pat Surtain.
He tested really, really good in his combine.
Tested better in every single category than Pat Surtain. I like South Carolina guys. J.C. Horn has that dog mentality. I think it's a good pick here for my QB or CB1.
CB1, okay. Leading me to my next pick, got another offensive weapon. Waddle was off the board. I got Chase, Pitts already. So why not go ahead and bring in my slot receiver, Devontae Smith. He was good value for where he was at. I mean, my offense is loaded. So, I mean, I figured I would bring in Devontae Smith, one of the best, probably third best receiver in the class, help beef up that offense. So,
yeah, I agree with the pick, but I am a defensive guy. And with this pick, 11, in our draft, I'm going to take the first safety off the board, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. In my opinion, that there's not great safeties in this class. I mean, safeties you don't take high, really. And there's not any screaming talent at safety. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is somebody that could be a hybrid. He can play linebacker. He can play safety for me. I'm going to go ahead and plug him in at safety and start building that up.
Yeah, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is, I say it all the time, he's pretty much Isaiah Simmons. They played similar roles. Owusu-Koramoah played a similar role at Notre Dame that Isaiah Simmons did at Clemson last year. Versatile, he can rush off the edge, he can play that inside backer, he can play safety and play in coverage, so he's pretty much a jack of all trades guy. I really like the pick here. I've mocked him to my Patriots a few times. We'll see how that goes. And with the next pick, another versatile offensive lineman here. I bought an Elijah Vera Tucker. He's a versatile guy. He played left tackle at USC last year, but I'm going to be playing him at left guard because I feel like that's where he would fit best in the NFL. When he comes in and gets drafted, I feel like he's a plug-and-play left guard right away, so I figured I'd go ahead and draft him, another versatile piece to my offensive line.
And to counter that, I'm going to go ahead and, for this pick, take my first kind of defensive lineman, edge rusher, Kwity Paye. There's a few arguments that he's the best edge rusher in this class. I've seen him in mock drafts going 4 to the Falcons. Might be a little wild, but I mean, I've seen it. I've seen him going 10 to the Cowboys. So I think to get him here at 13 is pretty good, considering that there's only one quarterback taken. Kwity Paye is arguably the best. So I think I'm pretty happy with him here at 13.
Okay, and Ryan went edge, so I figured I would go ahead and grab an edge guy before he grabbed them because we're fighting for the same positions here. So I went and got my edge one in the class, Jalen Phillips, out of Miami. I'm going to have him playing as an outside linebacker for me. There's some injury concerns. He's already retired from football once or twice. It's a little concerning to me, but, I mean, the upside's there. He tested well, so, I mean, figured I'll go ahead and grab him.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick, and if those injury concerns wasn't there, he'd be way higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to go ahead and counter that, I'm going to go ahead and take my second offensive tackle here to put on the other side of Penei Sewell. Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. I think he's probably third best offensive tackle in the class. Third best tackle in the class,
Fourth,
according to me.
Penei, Rashawn Slater.
Nobody cares about your rankings.
Alex Leatherwood, Christian Darrisaw. Anyway,
you were so high on that. Whatever.
He's amazing.
A lot of people have him as the third best offensive tackle. I think he's the third best offensive tackle. So I'm going to take him here. I like tackles. I like line and defense. So that's what I'm feeling.
And I'm going to go with another Virginia Tech guy, Caleb Farley. There's been some injury concerns, but he had his medical evaluation yesterday and came out that all the doctors that he saw said that he was good to go. So, I mean, that kind of washed away the concerns for me. The upside's there with Caleb Farley. He fell down the board a little bit due to some injuries, but, I mean, if he's healthy and he falls, I think he could end up being one of the steals of the draft.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that the talent's there 100%, but Caleb Farley still has had some ACL, back. He's had a few injuries. Him and Jalen Phillips.
No fly zone. 2 best corners in the class.
No. But anyways, I'll go ahead and take my guy here. First defensive tackle off the board. I thought there was a kind of a tier break in defensive tackles. So I went and took Christian Barmore here out of Alabama. Consider he's tier 1. Then the guys under him are a whole different tier. Christian Barmore showed in the playoffs that he could be an NFL threat. I mean, he was going crazy. And I think to get him here could be a steal.
He got better as the season progressed. Christian Barmore did it at Alabama this past year. I remember beginning of the season, all the announcers, they were real high on him. He wasn't really performing well, but as the season went on, he got better and started to live up to the hype the announcers were giving him. So that was a good pick for you. But then I went ahead and took another guy who's fallen down the draft boards majorly. I mean, the beginning of like the NFL season when like the new draft class was loaded in and like everyone was started to like look at mock drafts. Gregory Rousseau was getting mocked number 3 overall, top 4 or 5 overall. But I mean, he kind of fell down the board a little bit. He's more of a like 3-4 defensive end, maybe defensive tackle. But I mean, that fits what I got going on my scheme. So I went ahead and drafted him. He's going to play some defensive end for me. He's very athletic. He's got great athleticism. The size is there, but he relies on his athleticism a little too much, which I don't know how that's going to fold over on the next level, but we'll see. But another guy, like I said, the potential's there for Gregory Rousseau, especially if he goes to a team that has a good edge rusher that can help develop him.
Yeah, for me, I like the pick. The only concerns with me is Gregory Rousseau is on the same team as Jalen Phillips. I feel like that's going to kind of rise concerns because you got 2 edge rushers coming from that school, both first-round picks. I feel like one of them isn't going to work out, and then the other one is. Just my opinion. But I'll go ahead and jump to the next pick. Took interior linebacker Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. Might have reached for this one a little bit. He's not sorry. His athleticism is insane.
Sorry.
He's been moving up on the draft boards.
Yeah,
Kentucky, SEC guy. I love SEC defense. I like the pick here.
No offense, Jamin Davis. I never heard of you. If you're watching this.
Run him over.
But I mean, but I like that pick. He's definitely been rising on some draft boards. I don't know much about him. I gotta look more into him, check out some film. I don't know, but I trust your instinct. So I went ahead and grabbed one of my inside linebackers, Zaven Collins. It's a good pick. He's very athletic. He's versatile. He can play inside backer. He's probably more suited to rush out wide on the edge, play some outside edge rusher. I mean, I don't know where he's going to go in the NFL, where he's going to play. He's a big dude. I think he's like 6'4", 260, I think. He's a big guy. So, I mean, if that playing in the middle, that would be
huge.
Yeah.
Literally.
But no, I think I needed inside linebacker. Ryan got his 2, Micah Parsons and Jamin Davis, so I had to go get one here. Zaven Collins, I mean, he's going to be the anchor in the middle of the field for me in my defense. So, yeah.
And with my next pick here, I went defensive end, Azeez Ojulari. I would have much rather put him at edge rusher, considering he's kind of on the smaller side. But I had to put him in a defensive end. I think he can stock up a little bit. Coming out of Georgia, once again, SEC defense. As you can see, it's kind of a trend with my team a little bit. I like the pick. Georgia's been known to put out some pretty good defenders. That's what I'm saying, really.
Speaking of SEC, another versatile offensive lineman I'm drafting Alex Leatherwood to play right guard for me. He's a true tackle. He's got some guard experience. Another versatile guy. I mean, the 3 offensive linemen I have are versatile, can play all around, which is going to help me beat Ryan's team in some fantasy world where they're playing each other right now.
Yep.
But no, I mean, Alex Leatherwood, their best tackle in the class. He's one of my favorite players, so that's why I picked him. And he's versatile, so.
My next pick, grab my last edge rusher to put on the other side of, let's see.
Kwity Paye.
To put on the other side of Kwity Paye. Sorry, I forgot. Jason Owe.
Sorry.
His combine was insane. He ran, what,
Sorry.
4.3, give or take. A lot of people are running 4.3s nowadays. But hey.
Like Isaiah Simmons and Darius Leonard said, fastest draft class ever.
But hey, I'm going to take it and run with it. The dude's a freaking nature. He's really running 4.3s. Even if he's running 4.4, he's
wonder
still...
what my time would have been.
7 flat.
No way. If they're getting time like this, I probably run like a 4.8.
Yeah, okay.
And if you know me, I'm slow as ever.
Jason Owe is a pretty big guy, running at pretty fast speeds, coming out of Penn State. Another good school. Put on the other side of Kwity Paye. I like it.
Yeah, and to counter that pick, Jason Owe, not a fan. He had a good combine. He tested well, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan. I went ahead and got Javon Holland. He's a safety from Oregon. He's probably my best true safety in the league, or in the draft. Not the league. The draft. Excuse me. He's versatile, can play nickel corner too. I've been seeing some draft boards have him listed at corner, but I feel like he's more of a safety he can play the nickel if you need him to. So, like, I mean, you see a trend of versatile guys on my team can kind of do more than what their true position is. So that's the kind of the direction I went. So Javon Holland, yeah, he's going to play that free safety role for me in the nickel too.
My next pick took my last safety coming out of the Big 12, the best division, the best defensive division in all college football. That's a joke if you couldn't tell. Trevon Merrick, safety out of TCU. A lot of people are arguing he's the best safety in his class. A lot of people are starting to put him in the first round. I'm not sure how I feel.
First round. Like,
and as a safety, I feel like that's pretty good. You don't really see safeties going in the first round that much.
Jamal Adams went number 5. Derwin James went early. I mean, there's the really good ones go early, but these guys are really Jamal Adams, Derwin James.
Yeah. So I took him here. Like I said, a lot of people are arguing he's the best safety. So I like it. Grab my second safety to put on the other side of Jamal Sukumoa.
Yeah, and I went ahead and grabbed my third and final receiver. I mean, I have pretty much the greatest offense ever assembled coming out of the draft. I'm Rashad Bateman. So right now I got my quarterback, my running back, the second best quarterback, the best running back, the best receiver, the best tight end, the third best receiver,
running back yet.
And Rashad Bateman is the fourth best receiver, all in the same offense. So, I mean, my offense is unstoppable. Rashad Bateman, he's one of those guys, true outside receiver. I've mocked him in the Bears a few times. He's one of those guys that if you throw him a jump ball, it's probably like an 80-10 ball. He'll go up there and get it. He's got a good route tree. He's athletic. He can use his speed when he needs to. So I went ahead and solidified my amazing offense and got Rashad Bateman as my final receiver.
So and there's a couple things wrong with a lot of the stuff that you just said. For one, I'll start off with you thought you won the last thing that we did, but I'm pretty sure I took that home.
Ryan did win, but
Secondly,
this time it's different. This is my area of expertise.
Secondly, you just said Rashad Bateman gets a lot of 80-10 balls.
Yep.
80-10?
No, I said, you know what I mean. They'll know what I mean. If it's a 50-50 ball, it's more like 80-20.
80-10.
I didn't even notice what you were saying.
Oh my god.
I didn't even know. 80-20 balls. Thank you.
80-10. Anyways,
80-10.
My next pick, go offensive guard. Offensive guard here out of Alabama, Landon Dickerson.
He's sorry. He's not.
I don't really have any interior offensive linemen at this point, so give me a guy out of Alabama who's been blocking SEC defenders. I'll take it any day of the week.
With my 14th overall pick, I went ahead, got Creed Humphrey, Boomer Sooner. He was a first-round prospect during the college football season. Kind of felt like there's some concerns about him playing center. He's a left-handed center. You don't see that too much in the league with the right-handed quarterbacks. It's something it'll be easily fixable, but Creed Humphrey, one of the best interior offensive linemen in the class, coming from Oklahoma. So I got him. He can play guard if you need him to. Another versatile guy on my offensive line. So
I was actually pretty angry with this pick because I was going to take him next. So my next pick, I'm going to take Carlos Basham.
One of my favorite players.
Defensive
end
I
was going to draft
out of Wake Forest. And literally the only reason that I took this guy was so he didn't get him after taking Creed Humphrey. But hey, the dude's a freak. I think he's about 280 pounds, defensive end, size.
He's a problem.
He's a problem.
He is a
and he's now your problem.
Yup, but Rashawn Slater and my right tackle, who was drafted a little bit later, will have no problem. And speaking of sorry teams, after talking about Ryan's team, my next guy comes from a very sorry team. I went Joseph Osai out of Texas. Horns down, they're sorry. But no, I mean, he played almost every game. He started almost every game that he was at Texas. He produced well. He got a lot of sacks. He was good in coverage. So I figured I'll bring him in even though he goes to Texas. Yeah, not much else to say. Horns down. Boomer Sooner.
My next pick, my running back one for this year's class, Trevor Lawrence's guy, Travis Etienne. He has the most rushing yards in ACC history. He's not carried Clemson, but he's been a big part of Clemson over these last couple of years. I believe he's the best running back in his class. I believe he's the most elusive running back in his class. And so I'm taking him here. Trevor Lawrence's guy. I'm happy with it.
and for my final offensive lineman, another versatile offensive lineman, Sam Cosme, another Texas guy. Didn't even realize that. Sam Cosme, I think he did start left tackle every single game he was at Texas.
Oh, whatever years too.
Yeah, Texas is sorry. But Sam Cosme's good. He's another versatile guy. He's a top 5 tackle in the class. So I figured I'd add him into my versatile offensive line.
My next pick, going with center here. One of the last pieces to my offensive line.
Sorry.
Taking Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State.
Wyatt Davis?
Yeah. Is he sorry too?
No, I was saying your team's sorry. I like Wyatt Davis.
My team is better than yours. Anyways, out of Ohio State, big conference. Wyatt Davis can be center for me. Can also play guard. Got a lot of versatile guys that can play on the offensive line. 80-10. Anyways, Wyatt Davis, I like the pick here. I needed a center, and here he was.
Okay, so I was in the same boat with Ryan about Travis Etienne being the best running back in the class until I looked into Najee Harris, who's my pick here. Najee Harris, he can do it all. He's a power back. He can get you 4 yards a carry, but he also catches the ball out of the backfield very well, which is why I like him. He's versatile. He's a power runner, but he's elusive too. He fits my versatile scheme of my team, so that's why I went and got him, my running back one in the class.
I don't agree, but whatever. I'm taking offensive guard here. Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. Arguably O-line U.
Yep.
I think that
Quinn
might
Nelson,
be...
Zach Martin. Enough said.
Yeah, they're definitely up there, right next to Oklahoma. Whether or not they're first or second, who knows? Anyways, Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. We saw they put a lot of offensive linemen in the NFL, especially, well, guards.
And they usually all pan out pretty well, but Liam Eichenberg, primarily a tackle, but I mean, he another guy, kind of versatile, can play guard if he needs to, but he's most of his experience at tackle. I really like the pick.
He's going to guard, whether he likes it or not.
And he's going to have to be blocking my next pick, Marvin Wilson, interior defensive lineman out of Florida State. Marvin Wilson's a guy I'm very high on. He drastically, majorly fell down draft boards. I don't know why. He didn't really perform up to the hype this season. I'm still a fan. The potential's there. He's a problem. He was last year and the year before, he was wreaking havoc at Florida State. This year, he didn't play as well. I think he might have even opted out halfway through the season. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but he might have. But Marvin Wilson, ladies and gentlemen.
It's interesting that you took him over Levi out of Washington.
He's sorry.
Anyways, my last corner, Greg Newsome out of Northwestern. Northwestern is a school that plays defense. For those of you guys that don't know, Greg Newsome is a big corner with a lot of athleticism, a lot of potential. I like the pick.
And I love this next pick. I went Ronnie Perkins out of the University of Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, horns down, Boomer Sooner. Ronnie Perkins, he's listed as outside linebacker. He played that at Oklahoma, but he's more of a bigger guy. I think he's like 6'1",
245.
He's listed at 251, but they're saying he's like 260 something.
Hey, big boy.
So I'm gonna play him down at defensive end for me. It's a good fit. Ronnie Perkins, he's one of Ryan's favorite prospects in the class. He was great at Oklahoma on the defense. He was very, very, very porous. He was one of the bright pieces on that sorry defense, along with Brendan Riley-Howes, who recently transferred to Washington. But yeah, Boomer Sooner, like the pick.
Yeah, I think I saw Ronnie Perkins is the only defensive lineman in this class to be ranked top 5 in pass rush and edge rush according to PFF. So that's pretty good. Anyways, I'll take my second receiver here. Kind of waited a little while. Kadarius Toney, slot kind of guy out of Florida. Don't really have much to say here with this one. Florida had a lot of weapons, as you guys can see. Kadarius Toney will be my slot receiver, and he'll burn whatever corners on him. Caleb Farley when he...
Javon Holland will be playing in the nickel.
Yeah, okay. Oregon.
My next pick, Jabril Cox, LSU linebacker. He's a guy. He fell a little bit down the draft board. He's still a great player. He's good in coverage. He can stuff that middle real quick. Him and Zaven Collins will be a big problem in there for my team when Travis Etienne comes trotting up the middle. Boom. But yeah, Jabril Cox, I think he transferred to LSU from North Dakota State, played at LSU this year, played real good. So I went with Jabril Cox to be my second interior linebacker.
My last pick, or not my last pick, my last receiver, Terrence Marshall out of LSU. Wasn't really sure where to go in this pick. Kind of went around Rondale Moore, yeah. But I needed an outside receiver, so kind of had to go in Terrence Marshall here. I'm kind of iffy on him because he was playing with Jamar Chase. He was playing with Justin Jefferson. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, they produce receivers. But if you look at it to the point where he's not going up against number one corners, that can also be true. Yeah.
Me personally, I wasn't big on Terrence Marshall at all until recently. I'm a fan of him now. He's still producing the offense with those two receivers, and even this year at LSU with Jamar Chase opted out and Justin Jefferson in the NFL now, he was playing that receiver one spot, and he still produced pretty good with LSU's terrible quarterbacks they had. I think they went through 3 or 4 quarterbacks this year. So he still produced. I like that pick. And moving on to my quarterback, Justin Fields, second best quarterback in the class.
My God.
Enough said. I'm not going to go into detail.
All right, so for my last pick, I'm going to take my tight end. Talk about a tier break. Kyle Pitts, Pat Freiermuth.
Yep.
Out of Penn State.
Pitts, Freiermuth, Brevin Jordan.
Freiermuth. Keep going down on that one a little bit. But I mean, Penn State guy. I would much rather have Kyle Pitts. We all know, but I'm pretty sure he's definitely the second best tight end. Big guy. Give Trevor Lawrence a target.
Yeah, any other year, Pat Freiermuth, tight end 1. I mean, he's one of those guys. He blocks it. He's an exceptional blocker. He could use some more work on his routes, but that'll just come with developing at the next level. I mean, I like the pick. Like I said, any other year he's tight end 1. I mean, good pick. For my final pick, my second safety, I took Richie Grant. I think UCF, right? Richie Grant from UCF. I need another safety. He's good. UCF, they've had some pretty decent guys on defense. Defensive team, I mean, UCF, they've been on kind of an uproar lately. I mean, a few years ago, they went undefeated, missed the playoffs. I'm a fan of him. Richie Grant, top 4 safety in the draft. I'm a fan. Fits my scheme good. He can play that strong safety role for me, so that was it.
All right.
Alrighty, and I think that's going to wrap this one up, guys. So.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the final exclusive segment from Season 1 of the Greatest Podcast on Turf.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Next week, we're taking the week off, getting ready for draft week. We got some big uploads coming. Excited, great way to start off Season 2. Comment below whose team you think is better. But yeah, keep showing us love. Get ready for the draft. We're ready. And we'll see you guys draft week. See ya.
See ya.
Horns down.